Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Rtg Mondays. Now we are live in the desert of Bahrain. It should be a good one tonight. We are on round 8. We've only got 3 rounds remaining, including this one. So the championship is approaching its climax. He's very, very close at the top. We got Paul after his win last week. Abu has managed to just sneak into the lead for AlphaTauri. He's currently leading the standings on 150 points. You have Chuckle Brothers, been there all season, constantly scoring podiums. He's 2 points behind, 148. And don't count out his brother Chuck Brothers in the Red Bull, 110. It's all pretty close further back. AJ 4th, Prof 5th, Aki 6th, Tiedemann 7th, Bugatti 8th, Lee Craig 9th, GFO rounding out the top 10. Every single one of those not split by that much points. Everyone has something to gain and something to lose. AlphaTauri absolutely romping it in the constructors though. No surprise, sitting 1st and 6th in the driver standings. We will get a few details up on track for you currently. As we're just waiting for everybody to go around. Looks like we have a full grid this evening. 20 drivers going around. That's brilliant to see. I'm not sure who is reserve. I think we just have the 2 reserve, which is T2 the B2, or Tom, is back again. And also Josh McGill in the McLaren. Very quick driver indeed, and ever capable of winning a race. He'll be one to keep an eye out for, but don't forget, wherever he finishes, it won't count in the standings. So it's the championship protagonist we're looking at, and at the moment it is Paul staying in the pits. Chuckle also staying in the pits. They're using to hang fire early on in this session. I'll tell you what, we're going to ride on board with Josh McGill, the reserve, this evening, running that very beautiful McLaren car. Probably my favourite, but that's my opinion. Let me know what your favourite is down in the comments below. Who are you supporting tonight as well? And that's a long run, picking your break-ins at point into turn 1. Very tight hairpin, get it all slowed down. Very difficult on the throttle. Coming out, you've got to squeeze the throttle as early as you can, because then a kink up the second straight, and this would be a good overtaking opportunity. Always is in real life. And then the ever difficult turn 4. Very easy to lose the back end, especially with no traction at all. And then through the sweeping S's, don't run too much curve on the right hand side or you will lose it, and it's very easy to DNF your car in the wall on the left. Slow it all down for the hairpin, and then a quick burst of throttle up to the line. Position the car, straighten it as much as you can for the ever difficult braking zone of turn 11, and then round. Get it stopped, get on the power as early as you can. The earlier you get on there, you will gain time all the way down this other DRS straight, the 3rd DRS zone on the circuit. And then it's a series of medium to high speed corners. Very difficult with tyre temperatures to keep it under control. Got to be very smooth through there. David Benson does set the first lap of the session so far, but we are riding on board with Josh as he rounds this final sector. Another power down the line. There's a lot of power straights where running low wind can be beneficial, but there's a lot of twisty turn corners that you need a lot of downforce for. So we could see a mix of what people are running. It could make it interesting in the race. And there we go. No surprise, Josh McGill right to the top of the times right away, obliterating Benson's time, 1:28.7. Royal Rumble also sets a lap, 1:29.4. He's out. Who else have we got? I think Cameron's coming across the lap. Paul and Aki get themselves a 5-place grid penalty. What has happened there? We need to know. The teammates have somehow made contact. I don't know what has gone on, but that could be very key. Was that both of them got that penalty, or was it just Paul? I did see it was Paul. Collision with Aki, grid penalty. It's just Paul that has got that grid penalty. Aki has not got one, and that could be huge for the championship, because that's going to drop Paul down 5 positions before he's even begun. Even if he gets pole, he's not going to be starting on the front row. So I wonder what's gone on there. That's going to be interesting. We've got T2 stopped on track, waiting for the Haas of, I believe, AJ coming round. We've got Chuck on a lap as well, so we'll just ride on board with the Red Bull, see what he can manage. While we're missing that, Cameron Poulter did, yeah, we're only just slotted in behind Josh McGill. It's very, very close between the two of them. Chuck apparently going purple in the middle sector. Always take it with a pinch of salt, but it's looking like a pretty good lap for the Red Bull. It's shown much promise this season's rapid pace and got very, very unlucky in a couple of races. Certainly Singapore has made a bad call on strategy and it cost him the win. And straight up there he goes, in 3/10 off Josh McGill's time. That's a good opening benchmark for him. We've also got the debut of Mr. Wigglesworth. Is it Wiggle? Yeah, Mr. Wigglesworth. We'll call him that. With a very nice design helmet. I love the yellow and blue and black. That's brilliant. Running in the Mercedes this evening. He's on an out lap, about to start his current lap. So he'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. We will keep an eye on Paul as well, who's about to set his lap. Chuckle is on an out lap. GFO has retired from the session. I guess he's done that in the pits without setting a time, so I'm presuming he's on perhaps a qualifying ban. I haven't actually checked in with any penalty statuses overhanging from last week, but I would imagine that's what that is for. With that, you just fancy like starting from the back, who knows? As we watch Paul rise up into the very, very difficult, it's turn 11, I believe it's called turn 11. I can't be asked to count to find out for certain, but very, very difficult, especially if you don't run ABS. So easy just to run straight on through there. And throwing the AlphaTauri in to the left-hander, approaching the end of the middle sector now. And there's your timing beam, and purple it is. That's running right up to the track limits as much as possible. Really got to use the track on this circuit. Extend those braking zones, extend the exits. But there's a certain few curbs that you have to avoid. What's he going to be? It is going to be 6th. I'm sure he's going to be a little disappointed with that. Sitting in behind Prof, who's set a very nice benchmark lap actually, 129.151. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that. I'm going to check back in with Chuckle, who is on a lap as well. Currently sat P2 in the championship and only 2 points behind Paul. And with Paul getting himself a grid penalty, this makes things very, very interesting indeed. While we watch Chuckle on his lap, I'm going to try and find out what's going on. Try and see if I can message Aki to see what actually happened between him and Paul. Well, they were mucking around or something's gone on. But it is drama right at the start of this race, and it hasn't even started yet. Qualifying has only just begun. There's that Chuckle through, and that's it's a good split time for the middle sector. So let's see what he can manage coming up into the final corner. Got to keep the speed going through it as much as possible. Easy to lose the back end of the car on the curb on the exit. And up to line, and there we have it. 128.579. He sets down the benchmark. It's a McLaren at 1-2 as things stand. And McLaren's really showing what they can do. Cameron pulled up to the line. I think he's starting a lap as we speak. More rumble there, just getting a bit too far over the curbs, and I think he's going to abandon that lap. Just pushing a little bit too hard there. As we go, also got T2 hasn't really set a proper benchmark lap yet. Neither has Lee Craig in the Red Bull. Looks like he's currently on a flying lap, so we will we'll watch Red Bull for the rest of this lap. So we've got Flea on an out lap, hasn't set a competitive lap time yet. Danny Also, no time on the board, and last but not least, LGE as well. Still could mess up the order somewhat if they decide to get some good lap times in. Let's see, as Lee flies up to the line, what's he going to set? He's going to go into P6, right behind his Red Bull teammate, actually, only half a tenth behind. That's a good effort for him. We got Dan in the chat, come on Benson. So we have one David Benson supporter as we go. We're going to see Josh McGill. Let's see if he's on a lap. No, he's not. He looks like he's running out of VRS. He's not got it turned on. AJ Baker's on an out lap. A few people on sort of out laps and in laps really. Royal Rumble probably just about to start a lap, so we'll keep an eye on him. See what he can manage. Flies through the first hairpin and twist turn. So difficult to get on the power, on the throttle coming out of that hairpin, because you're turning the car and you asking an awful lot of the rear tyres. You just don't like it. And I think as he goes, apparently purple in the first sector, a tenth up. I'm not entirely sure that's purple, but maybe he set a really good sector one last time as well, and he's perhaps got a lot of time, maybe a mistake in the second or third sector. We'll have to keep watching the Alfa Romeo to find out. I've also got, who was that? Oh, Chuck has jumped up to P3. He's managed to set an extra lap that is good enough for P3. It's a very competitive time on the board for him. I'm sure he's going to be very happy with that. Again, Royal Rumble half a second up nearly, and allegedly purple. I don't think that graphic's necessarily correct, because half a second would still see him about sort of P7, P8. But we'll have to keep watching as he goes round the final corner, and up to the line comes the Ferrari powered Alfa Romeo. What's he going to set? It's going to be a 1:29.0, just about right. He's lost a little bit, perhaps a tenth or so in that last sector, and as I predicted, P8 it is. Who else is on a lap? Anyone? I think Flea. Maybe finishing a lap or starting a lap. Oh, he's done a quite slow lap. So Flea looking to go onto a lap now. Anyone else on flying laps as we speak? I think AJ may be on a flying lap, just trying to get a bit of a tow from the Williams in front of him as he rounds the final corner. Perhaps that's giving him an extra tenth or two, and that might be all he needs to see himself up the order. Is it? It's certainly going to be improvement, and up to P3 he goes. And that's a very good time. Only 100th of a second away from Josh McGill in the McLaren, so that's very good pace from AJ though. You see also Prof potentially on a lap. We'll have to keep an eye, see what he can manage. In through end of the second sector he goes. Very easy to over-rotate the car through that fast right-hander. He's currently 2 tenths up on his lap, so this would be good enough to see him about into P8, P7 again with Royal and Prodigy. Has he got any more time he can find in this final sector? Sure, there's time everywhere he looks. Just depends how hard you're willing to push those boundaries and play the risk versus reward game, and that certainly does see him up into P8. He breaks the 128 barrier. He is in the 128s, only just but a 0.9. That's good enough for 8th. Sure, he's going to be happy with that so far. And who else have we got? Oh, Flea does manage to get a competitive lap time on the board, and it's a 1:30.0. A little way off our debutant, Mr. Wigglesworth, who has managed to put a 1:29.6. And I'll tell you what, even though he's right down in 17th, it's still not a long way off the top 10 when you look at it. It's only half a second away, and I'm sure a little bit more of that risk versus reward factor would see him fly up the order. We've also got Aki, been showing great turn of speed recently. Currently down in P14. Qualifying has never been his forte. He's never really been a speed merchant. However, we've got a Williams sat on the track. What is that all about? Anyone else realise what? Apparently David Benson is in the pits, but he's there on track, flicking between neutral and first. We're not really sure, but anyway, as I was saying, yeah, as I say, Aki in the matches is sector 1 time is always somebody to that will just steadily improve during the race. He's never going to set the world on fire with fastest laps or pole, but he'll always just keep that consistency lap after lap after lap, and will just find himself climbing up the order as others fall by the wayside by making mistakes or wrong strategy or whatever it is. A very, very intelligent racing driver. It's not all about being the quickest at the end of the day. To finish first you must finish. As my old man always used to tell me when I was younger growing up. And up to P10 he goes. There's a 129.082, and it's very closely packed in that mid pack there. And I'm sure he's going to be happy to break the barrier of the top 10. And there's a little spin just to celebrate what a great lap he managed to do, and he might have just got in the way of that Williams there. I'm not 100% sure whether... no, he's just on an LG, he's just on an outlap, so fortunately Aki didn't hinder him in any way. As we see, who else have we got? Is Prof on a lap? We're not sure. A lot of people on their outlap now. Obviously there's only 1 minute 10 on the clock now to go, as we have a spinner in the final corner. That is Danny. He's made a habit of spinning this season. Not had the best season, unfortunately. Shown a good turn of pace, but just unfortunately drops the ball from time to time. And unfortunately he's done it once again in qualifying, but no harm done in qualifying. Just dust off the bruised ego, and away you go once more. But we do have everyone at the top pretty much on a lap as we speak. Josh McGill just starting one. AJ, is he on a lap? He is on a lap, and oh no, he's not on a lap, so he's just starting a lap. Chuck is on a lap as well. Paul's also on a lap. We've still got that Williams weird stricken place. Not sure whether the lobby's glitched with that. Must be. Cameron on a lap as well. T2's not on a lap. We're going to kind of try and watch the top 6 here. I'll tell you what, actually, I didn't notice that. T2 setting a lap for good enough for 7th place, 28.8. That's a very, very good effort from the Northerner. Fair play to him. As that is it. Now, the checkered flag has fallen. Chuckle is not on a lap, I don't think. Or is he on a lap? He's giving me a checkered flag for him, which is a bit strange. Yeah, but he's definitely... Oh, I think he's come out a bit late. And here we go. Cameron Poulter will be the first of the top 6 to cross the line. There's a spun Mercedes of Prodigy somewhere off to one side. They're not really sure what's going on. Cameron Poulter across the line. That's a 28.4. That is good enough for pole position. As things stand, but we've got a few people yet to finish the lap. Paul is abandoning in his lap. His isn't good enough. Chuck is next to cross the line. What's he going to manage? It's a 28.4. Oh my goodness, 0.02 of a second. That is so close. I cannot believe. Unbelievable. AJ is next across the line. Can he spoil the party? It's a big improvement. 28.456. This is incredibly close. And Josh McGill will be the last one, but he won't improve. Is Leon a better lap? Not sure. It says he's 3/10 down. Yeah, he's going slowly. He's not going to improve. Royal Rumble is... I have no idea where Royal Rumble is. Where is he? I don't think he knows where he is. LGE, maybe on a lap. I think we'll have to see also Mr. Wigglesworth. As well, can LGE see himself into the top 10? It's going to be an improvement, 3.5 tenths. Oh, agonisingly close to the top 10, but not quite. And that is a real shame for the Williams driver, but a good effort nonetheless. But wow, that is it for qualifying, as Mr. Wigglesworth is now in the pits. But wow, Cameron Poulter, 128.400. Chuck Brothers, a 128.402. 0.02 of a second. Unbelievably close between these two. AJ, agonisingly close right behind. 0.05 of a second. I'm sure he's going to be happy with P3, but so close for the Haas driver. And he's been showing a great turn of pace recently, and I'm sure that is just the latest in the trio. Chuckle Brothers currently P2 in the championship, will start P4. Not a great position, but could be worse. I'm sure he's going to be fairly happy with that, given he's got his teammate Josh McGill, who he's reserving tonight, don't forget, behind him, so he can act as a rear gunner. Paul in 6th, but crucially got that 5-place grid penalty. T2 the B2, a cracking effort and a brilliant lap by him to see him into 7th place. I'm sure he's going to be dead chuffed with that. Prodigy in 8th, Lee in 9th, Prof in 10th. But look at that, top 10 covered by half a second. And even if you go further down, you know, it's still incredibly close. What a lineup we have. And it is every week with Mondays. They're so close. And it just makes fantastic watching at the end of the day. And I love commentating on this tier, and I hope you guys enjoy watching it, because it's incredible, absolutely incredible how close it is. There's always great racing, and always a little bit of drama thrown in the mix as well, as we everyone chooses their strategy, chooses their fuel load. Let's see who's going to come out where at the end of this race. It is going to be a long race. Bahrain, always a bit of a grueling track. Easy one to get it wrong as well. We just wait. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any rain, because let's be honest, this is Bahrain. We never get any rain in Bahrain. It would be quite an interesting track to drive in the rain, actually. It'd be very difficult on those traction zones, especially coming into those hairpins. But nonetheless, we will forget about that, because it is pretty much definitely not going to. As our countdown clock goes now. We've got 10 seconds to go before the formation lap gets underway. Everyone waiting patiently there. All the Mercedes mechanics sat nicely in the pits, waiting and hoping for their drivers can pull one out the bag. Cameron Poulter leads us away. Chuck in second, AJ in third, and then the two McLarens following back. Let's have a check in with the tyre situation, and it's pretty much everyone in the top 9 on mediums. We've got a couple going for hards further down, LGE, and also Paul, interestingly, deciding to go for the hard compounded tyres. Might get swamped at the start, but it could pay in the long run, especially if you're mired in that midfield, and you know Paul's got the pace to make his way through. Then it's a battle of 3 mediums, Royal Wacky and Danny all on mediums, and then another 3 hards, Bugatti, Tiedemann and Mr. Wigglestuff on the hard compound tyres. Flea deciding to throw a spanner in the works and go on softs. Probably not a great tyre around this circuit, it has to be said. So an interesting call from him, but there we go, we'll see. Benson on the mediums, and GFO rounding out the pack after retiring in qualifying, with possibly a qualifying ban. And there's your predicted pit stop strategy. Looks like it's going to be pretty much a medium to hard, or a hard to medium for most people. Obviously Flea being the exception there. Will he be able to make the softs last long enough and go on to the hards? Could be a potential option of his. Whoa! As we see Cameron decide to go for a little bit of a spin on the formation lap, just pushing a little bit too hard on those rear tyres there. But he's back up and running once again, and no harm done, because remember, there is no damage on the formation lap. It would be rather cruel, but great fun. And oh god, what are we all doing? Everyone doing 360s, I think. AJ, Chuck, all going round and just trying to do a bit of showing off. As we see now, Cameron back in the lead, and interestingly, the two McLarens now following him through. Will it be like this come the end of lap 1? Who knows? It's going to be an interesting one, as everyone now does the last couple of burnouts, and maybe even the last 360 or 2. I know what these lads are like. We will have to see what they can manage. Yep, there Chuckle goes. Pretty poor attempt. Chuck in the background also giving it large, and, and Lee as well, having a pretty good effort at it. And now we just wait for the rest of the grid. Lee does get himself disqualified, Paul doing a nice little drift sideways, deciding to come in a bit of an angle in front of his teammate there. And he starts 11th and does get him reset from the track, so that's not going to help him off the line. But we are going to jump back with the battle up at the front as the lights are getting ready to get going. We're going to get a terrible camera angle, so we're going to have to jump on board with Cameron Poulter as the lights go out, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's been a fantastic start from Cameron, but Chuck has had a poor start. AJ, I think, has had a pretty good start, but he's found himself a bit boxed in at the first corner. What's gone on? Cameron's gone deep into the first corner, and that's given Chuck a bit of a run around the outside, and Chuck perhaps trying to take the lead off of the Ferrari coming into the turn 4. Who is ahead? It is Chuck that is ahead, and they're fighting side by side. AJ and Josh McGill further back. Chuckle has had a disaster start. He's had a bit of a spin or something because he's down to 13th place. That is a shame for him, but it all is sort of settled down a little bit up front. Prodigy's had a fantastic start up to 5th as well. T2 a good start. So has Paul, even on those hards. He's up to 7th place. That's a fantastic start from the AlphaTauri driver. We're going to check back in with Chuckle, see if he's got any damage or anything. I don't think he does. He is still running in this race, all intact with the front wing as far as we can see. And there's also a little bit over yellow flag further back. What's going on? Bugatti losing a bit of time as well further back. And Aki getting past Royal Rumble too. But wow, Cameron getting a fantastic start, but just overcooking it, and he's round. Unbelievable. Cameron is spun it in the same place pretty much as he spun on the formation lap, and he's dropped back down the order once again. Unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, and even Chuckle is now trying to get past that Ferrari, but they're going to be 3 wide because it's Prof, Chuckle and Cameron all into the final corner. Chuckle's going to try and hang it around the outside. There's a Ferrari also coming in the background to see whether he can get involved. That is Flea on those softs, who's made a great start at the order. No surprise. They are going to fire up very quickly, and once again we're going to go 3 wide, and McLaren sandwiched by 2 Ferraris, and I think Chuckle may have the ascendancy there, but Cameron holding it around the outside, can't quite keep it going. And away we go once more. The Ferrari's having a good old battle, though, once again coming out of the hairpin. And Cameron looking to go at the inside of Flea, and he certainly makes that happen. And Flea is back down into 12th place once again, but it has been a good start for him. We are going to check in with the position gained and lost. As you see, Cameron, biggest loser on that, down 6. Flea up an incredible 6 places, and Paul also at 4. Worthy notice of that. That's a great effort. AJ looks like he's struggling a bit as Prodigy goes very, very wide in the background. I think he's had a bit of a lock up there, and that's dropped him back a place or 2, and surely given him a track limits penalty. T2, the B2, has got himself up to 4th place, and I'm sure he's going to be incredibly chuffed with that on his return. Really hitting form, so just needs to keep it neat and tidy from here on in. That's a cracking effort from the Aston Martin driver. But yeah, Chuck and Josh McGill fighting it out further back. And who's that? That is Cameron once again, really struggling with the rear end of that Ferrari. Perhaps he's looking a bit hot, running a bit too skinny on the rear wing. Not really sure. Josh McGill goes fast. Is that no surprise there? Flea is now fighting Royal Rumble, and they're going to be side by side and down into turn 1, and it looks like the Alfa Romeo has the run on the Ferrari, and into 11th place he goes. And LGE is round as well. LGE's had dropped it on the exit of turn 1, just dropping down a couple of positions, and they're going at it once again. And Flea has got one back over Royal, and that is a great little battle between the two of them. And I think Aki's going to have a look at the inside, but he can't quite take advantage of that. And just shoving a nose in there and saying, look, remember boys, I'm here. If you make a mistake, I am going to be here. And the Alfa Romeo having a little look up the inside once again. But can't quite make that move stick. It's going to be a difficult place to make the move. You've really got to be close on that occasion. As through we go once again. And Josh McGill hounding the back of Chuck, but Chuck holding on quite nicely as things stand. And who's that? That is Cheat. Oh, Tom, unbelievable, has dropped it, and he is tumbling down the order, and I'm gutted for him because that was a fantastic effort in qualifying and a fantastic start to the race for him. and I hope he keeps his head in the game, because he's doing very well on his return. Very, very difficult. It's been a while since he's picked up the game. Ever the quick driver, I've had many battles with him, and he is definitely a proven race winner. But unfortunately, and that's Flea out. Flea is out of the race. There he is on the right hand side, you can see, and he has dropped into the wall, and that has brought out is it a full safety car? I think it is a full safety car, and that's going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works. I think it's a bit of a stretch to make hards last to the end of the race from here for anyone on mediums, but it could be worth a punt, you know. We'll have to keep an eye on everyone, see who decides to go for what. But anyone that's dropped it is that's going to give the advantage of. Certainly Paul up in 6th place. Had a great start on those hards, and it might help him out here. It's going to be a bit of a difficult one. If the hards last to the end of the race and everyone on the mediums pits to it, it hands them the advantage. But their tyres are going to be absolutely screaming for mercy come the end of the race. Will anyone risk it? We're going to have to keep an eye on things. The gap that Chuck and Josh did build up will now be wiped away, unfortunately. But I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference, really. But it certainly helps Mr. Wigglesworth, our debutant. Once again, not had the greatest of start in the Mercedes. Struggling a bit. He has dropped a good 30 seconds off down behind the field, because he had a little bit of an incident we are not aware of. Nobody coming into pit by the looks of things. They're all convinced it is too early. Oh, but Aki's going to go for it, you know. Aki's going to decide to go for it, and Cameron's going to follow him as well. And I think in their position, that's a great gamble to go for. Royal, T2 also in the pits, Bugatti in the pits, yeah. Well, Bugatti on the hards, not sure that's a good call, but oh, he needs a wing. That makes sense. But yeah, let's get the tyre graphics up. Yeah, Aki on fresh hards now. And do you know what? If he can make them last to the end of the race, yeah, could be in on a good chance of getting a good result with that. It's going to be tough. He's got a lot of cars in front of him, and this is a problem. It might slow him up a little bit too much, perhaps, because he'll have to fight his way through traffic. But if he can make it work for him, it's worth a try. Absolutely worth a try. So the safety car definitely throwing a bit of a spanner in the works here. Certainly helping Paul out, and also anyone else on hards, really, because it stops anyone on those mediums really takes away their main advantage, which is good lap times early on, because any time that they've gained really is now back to nothing. It's almost like status quo from the beginning of the race. I'm just waiting for the last gaggle of cars to catch up. I think it's going to be a bit late to get going this lap. I think we're going to get another lap under safety car, which is a bit unfortunate, but to be expected. Punching up further back, but yeah, what a race so far. Let's take a bit of a breather. We'll also take a bit of a recap as well. So off the start, we had unfortunately we don't get any replays, which would be great like real life, but there we go. Cameron Poulter had a brilliant getaway from the line. He really managed to pull away. Ooh, Chuckle going in the pits as well, actually, just to detract from that. He's decided it's worth a punt, and do you know what? Actually, it could be. I know he's going to drop more positions doing it that way, but he's also got a lap fresher tyres than the other guys on hards, and that could be very key come the end of this race, because it's going to be a bit touch and go for those hards. Yeah, back to recap. So Cameron got a fantastic launch off the line. Chuck really struggled off the line. He came across to cover AJ, close AJ off, I think. And AJ, who had a reasonable start as well, just couldn't find a way past or find a way to go get past the Red Bull. And then Cameron decides, just misses his braking point, I think, just by a few metres going into the first corner. It just ran him a bit wide, and he really struggled to get on the power, then coming out, compromised his exit. And Chuck took full advantage of that and flew past the Ferrari. And then, unfortunately, later in the lap, Cameron did drop it and drop down the order. Josh McGill has been hounding Chuck for the first few laps of this race. They did pull a bit of a gap to AJ. It was clinging on in there, but couldn't stay within DRS range. Lee Craig in fourth has had a good start, capitalising on those mistakes of others around him, as is Prodigy and Paul. So this is certainly spice things up. What's the best strategy, do you think? Do you think pitting now on these hards is the best option? Will they last to the end? How bad what shape will they be in by the end of the race? But I tell you one thing, we're going to find out soon enough, because the safety car is in this lap, and Chuck now slows everyone down, and he has become the de facto safety car, and he is now currently leading them away. He chooses the pace, he dictates the pace. Chuckle has had a little bit of an incident, I think, further back. I don't think he's going to have any issues catching up, but it looks like he's perhaps dropped it on his own. A little bit embarrassing, but there we go. There's a safety car in the pits now, and David Benson and Chuckle now swapping for positions, and I don't know what's going on there, but we're going to go back with the leaders because Chuck has decided to go for it, and he's pulled a great restart. AJ is pretty close to the back of Lee, and also Lee Craig to the back of AJ. Look at this. Coming into turn one, is Lee going to send it? He's going to have a look at the inside of AJ. AJ leaves in space, but he's going to have the outside line. It's going to be easier on the traction for the Haas, and Lee's going to be rounding in the wall, and that might have even given him rear wing damage, and that is gutting for the Red Bull. He is round trying to go on the offensive, and unfortunately has paid the price for it. Back up with the front we go. Josh McGill is clinging on nicely to the back of Chuck. There we got jumped on the restart. He is holding on nicely. Chuckle has managed to get up quite a few positions on that restart. He's up to 16th already, so it's a great start for him. Aki in 10th place has managed to see a couple of positions as well. So he's looking that little bit stronger once again. And through they go. Round on this first lap, it looks like there's, I think, is that Tiedemann going wide? It certainly is. And taking the very, very long extended cut, and he's going to be side by side with Aki. Now, coming into the left-hander, Aki's got the inside line and the advantage, and Cameron now sends one up the inside. There's contact between the two, and that has cost them both time. Royal Rumble now goes into 10th place, but unfortunately Cameron, I think, sent it a little bit late, and has compromised the both of them. T2 now tucked in behind Tiedemann in the Haas, and is looking to make a move down to the outside. He goes, Tiedemann goes rather defensive. Can T2 go around the outside? He's later on the brakes. Round the outside does the Aston Martin goes, and that could be a very nice move indeed, and it certainly is. And he's up into 11th place and on the tail of Royal already. Bugatti and Chuckle trading positions a bit further back. I think Chuckle was a bit quicker, but it looks like Bugatti's got him on the straight line speed. Cameron going around the outside of Tiedemann once again into turn one, and that's a good move, well made this time. And into 12th Cameron goes, and trying to make amends for earlier on. And I see T2's on the soft compound tyres, hence why he's making good progress here very, very quickly indeed. And who's that? That is Bugatti, who has gone round, and he is dropping down the order. That's a shame for him. But we're going to go back up with the leaders because we've been neglecting them somewhat. Chuck and Josh McGill. Josh McGill keeping Chuck very, very honest indeed. Both have similar levels of batteries. They're both using it to a certain extent. AJ just once again struggling to stay within that 1 second window. Chuckle gets past further back. Also Tom making a move on Royal Rumble, putting those softs to good use. He's flying up through the order, making good progress, and that's what he likes to see. Running a little bit wide there. I'm sure that's going to be a track limits warning for the Aston Martin, so he won't have too many of those left to go. Prodigy in fourth. It's dropping back once again from AJ. AJ just keeping that gap only just under a second. He's just lost a little bit there once again. Paul hanging on very nicely to the back of Prodigy, considering he's on the harder compounder tyres. Lee has gone for a spin once again. I think those tyres perhaps taken a bit of a beating after that spin earlier on, and maybe even got the wing damage. And perhaps that's why he's coming into the pits to retire. But we'll see. Cameron Poulter goes around the outside. Royal Rumble. And that is Aki. Aki has gone round at the second corner. Unbelievable. Oh, excuse me. And that is Aki tumbling down the order on those fresh hards. That is a real shame for the AlphaTauri team. Lee Craig is carrying on, so perhaps not rear wing damage as I suspected. You know, that he's willing to brave it out. But we're going to go back with Cameron and Royal, who are having a good old ding dong further back, and I think that's Royal gone very deep into the hairpin, and Cameron says thank you very much. I will have that position, and into the top 9 he goes with a little bit of too much power on the exit, and that's going to allow Royal Rumble to come flying back at him with the use of DRS as well. And we've also got Tom and Chuckle going side by side further back. Chuckle up the inside with DRS. Has got the move. But T2 has got the up and under on him. And they're going to go side by side round the right-hander. That's going to be a difficult one to go side by side. And T2's got the position back. And that is great racing from these boys. Fantastic racing on display here this evening. And that is what you love to see. Absolutely brilliant. But we are going to go back with the lead because Josh is getting very, very close to the back of Chuck. And he's going to go up the inside here with the use of DRS. They're going to be side by side. There's a bit of contact between the two. I think possibly Josh just ran a little bit of curb on the inside from that camera angle, but it was difficult to see. Perhaps Chuck turned in a bit too much. I couldn't quite tell. But Josh McGill is now going to get DRS down to the right-hander. And Chuck's going to hold it around the outside. A little more grip available on the outside line. And he manages to hold the lead for now. But this is getting very, very spicy indeed. A little bit of contact ready for the fight for the lead. And it's allowed AJ to close up to the back of them and keep with the DRS. Prodigy really struggling to keep tabs with them. And I think Paul is looking to make a move past, and he could be one to watch at the end of this race, because when he bolts on those mediums, he's going to be very, very quick indeed and closing up on the lead battle, I'm sure. But he might be able to make a move here on Prodigy. Is he going to try and get past? He's using his battery. He's going to go to the outside, and with the use of DRS, he is ahead before the braking zone and into 4th place. The AlphaTauri goes, and he's in a very, very strong position now. But we're going to go back with the leaders once again as we're going down once more. Both of them using lots and lots of batteries, so they haven't really got much in the tank left to fight with. Josh McGill getting a nice exit out of there, and he's only 3/10 behind. Not even that really when you look at it. There's a swap position for T2 and Cameron further back, but we're going to keep an eye on the lead because Josh McGill is flying past the Red Bull, and I think he's going to have the move made before the braking zone, and he certainly is. And into turn 1 he goes ahead and in the lead. But Chuck will get DRS back and potentially a chance to have a go back at him. However, can't quite make the move there. Chuckle and T2 also swapping positions further back once again. It's Chuckle now ahead of C2's had a compromised exit, and that's allowed Royal Rumble to get the run on him and back up into 11th. And I don't know where to get. They're going. And Tom's round once more, just pushing a bit hard in the dirty, and that is real shame for the Aston Martin once again. He's had some brilliant battles and really held in his own this evening. He can hold his head proud, hold his head up high, and be proud. If I can get my words out right. But here we go once again. Prodigy still clinging on to the back of Paul, so that we want to keep an eye out for as well. But also Chuck clinging on to the back of Josh. Also, again, both drivers not really with much battery to play around with. Chuck just a little bit less, and there is a Haas round. That is Tiedemann in the middle sector. He has dropped it. But we're not going to take our eyes away from this lead battle because Chuck will get DRS. AJ has dropped out of DRS range now, so Josh McGill really up in the ante with the pace here. Is Chuck going to be close enough? It's close enough for Josh McGill to want to go defensive, and round the outside Chuck is going to try for it, and Josh McGill's going to hold the centre line and prevent him going past. and GFO and Prof having a good old ding dong further back, and GFO's up to 7th. He's managed to get the Aston Martin of Prof. Danny gets himself a time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's coming for a little bit of an early stop. I'm just going to keep an eye on Cameron Poulter. Is the first of the runners that pitted under safety car for hard, so here we want to keep an eye out. Also, Paul we want to keep an eye out for as well. Just got to see what sort of lap times he's been setting. Imagine he'll be dropping back. The mediums are surely going to start going off at this point for the leaders. AJ struggling to stay within that DRS zone of Josh and Chuck up ahead. He's tantalisingly close, but it's not going to be close enough. And round they go. Once again, we're going to go back with this lead pair as they go down into the DRS detection point. And into the final corner they go. It's all about getting a good exit out of here. Josh McGill's got a good one. He's straight away. He's weaving to the right and to the left to try and break that toe that Chuck's going to get. Chuck really hasn't got much battery to attack with. He's going to get pretty close, but not close enough. Come the end of the braking zone, but we're going to get back with Chuckle and Cameron. Chuckle really hasn't got any battery. Neither does Cameron either. But Chuckle has the DRS. And who's got the slippery car in the straight line? It's not going to be enough coming in the braking zone. He can't quite send it, but they're going to be pretty close coming out of here once again. And it's once again, Chuckle is going to get the run on the Ferrari driver. DRS wide open, pulls the inside. Cameron is going to choose not to defend it. And up the inside, the McLaren goes, and that is into 9th place for him. And now all of a sudden, he becomes the leader on the fresh, that pitted under the safety car for the fresh mediums. But he's going to want to catch Prof and get DRS. Otherwise, Cameron's going to get him back here. But I think he's managing to close that gap with the mediums going off somewhat. Chuck is very, very close to the back of Josh McGill. This is incredibly tense to watch for the leader of the race. Josh McGill is a reserve, but you know, it doesn't matter. I think every single one of these drivers is still going to want to win it on track. So at the moment, Chuck looking very strong for the race win, regardless. He's just got to be that little bit extra careful. And is that Cameron spun in the middle sector? I think it is. Where is he? Cameron has gone round and is miles off the track. And down the order he goes once again. And oh, here we go. Now's the move. Chuck has come into the pits. He's going for the undercut. He's going to get rid of those medium tyres, and that is a very, very clever play from the Red Bull. He's going to have cold tyres. He's going to try and get them up to temperature. It's going to be difficult, but if he can get them up to temperature, he has a great chance at jumping Josh McGill for the lead. But is he going to come out in traffic? Is he not? No, I think he's got a little bit of a clear air before Cameron goes on up ahead. Yeah, it's going to be about 3.5-4 second gap by the time they get up and running once again. But a few people pitting there. Prodigy also pitting, and Prof as well pitting once again. Paul holding the gap to AJ, but not really closing in on him. AJ holding a nice gap to Josh McGill at the moment, and surely we're going to see these two respond. Certainly, Josh McGill, I would anticipate will go in the pits this lap. Through the end of the second sector, the McLaren goes. We've got to change of position further back. Cameron is overtaking Mr. Wigglesworth, and that is a Aston Martin of T2 who's dropped it once again. But we're going to go back with the leaders because I'm expecting to see the McLaren of Josh come in, and he's not. He's going to stay out. AJ's going to call it in. He doesn't want to get undercut too much. Paul's naturally going to stay out on the hard. Same with LGE and GFO. Are in pretty strong positions. They would, despite having to pit anyway. But yeah, Josh McGill decides to stay out. Now I wonder what effect that's going to have on this race. He feels like he's got the pace to keep going for a lap or two. I don't know what the pit delta is, but if we look at the gaps, Chuck is currently 25.5 seconds off the lead. and he needs to start getting that gap down. And this is, he's done a lap. His tyres should be up to temperature, but he is now in a little bit of traffic because AJ's come out ahead of him. I missed that. AJ has come out ahead of him, so the overcut has worked very nicely for him. But look at this. Those cold tyres on that Haas really, really struggling for AJ, and Chuck is all over the back of him here, and this is holding Chuck up, and this is playing into Josh's hands. So the overcut is more powerful. Getting those hard tyres up to temperature is not very quick at all. Well, certainly Chuck struggled with it, but he is going to get a good run now in this middle DRS zone, and away he goes, and that has released him. But AJ should have his tyres up to temperature a little bit more. But that has cost him heaps of time to Josh McGill, and that could be very, very key in this race. And there it is. Josh is in the pits, and I think that could have sealed the deal for Chuck trying to get an undercut on the McLaren, because look, he's not even coming into the final corner now. And Josh McGill is already getting back going, and he's crawling down the pit lane. It's going to be painful for him, but look, up to speed he goes, and he's going to be well ahead. I know Chuck will have the warmer tyres, so he's going to drop back a few seconds wherever he comes out, but Chuck has no battery either which to defend with. But look at that, it's like a 3.5-4 second gap between the two of them. And there is Josh, he's got the overcut very nicely. That squabbling has really cost. And oh, David Benson has retired. Oh, he's done it in the pits, so we're all good. No safety car. Fortunately, there was a change of position. Cameron getting past Bugatti in that first sector. And yeah, that's the closest on track battle at the moment. Chuck now trying to close in, but look, he's 3 seconds behind Josh. It really has cost him dearly. I'm sure he's going to be getting it. I thought he came up with a great strategy play there, but it really hasn't worked out for him in the end, and that is gutting for him. Let's see, it'll be challenging to see what pace he has for now until the end of the Grand Prix. All is not lost yet, and like I said, Josh, don't forget, is a reserve anyway, so Chuck will get the effective race win. I'm sure he would much rather win it on track. You know, go for the glory. And GFO in the pits as well off those hards. He's decided to call it a day. I tell you what, if the overcut is that powerful, this could leave Paul in quite the position here. And oh, who's that? Who is that? That's Royal. Royal is round in the first sector. I missed what happened there. Perhaps he's lost the back end. He's done a Grosjean, but fortunately not on fire. He is still going. And away he goes once more. Tiesman and Mr. Wigglestaff having a good old battle further back. Mr. Wigglestaff holding off the Mercedes driver as Danny now goes for another spin in the middle sector, and back to normality we go once again. But here we go. So this is a split strategy between a lot of people. You've got Paul and also LGE. Don't discount him. But certainly Paul has race-winning potential here. He's on the hards. He's running very, very strongly indeed. What's his gap to Chuck and Josh McGill? 16-18 seconds. He will come out around, I mean, what's the pit stop was about 25 seconds, wasn't it? 23 or so seconds, but he will be on medium compound tyres in a light car. He will absolutely fly on those medium tyres, so don't discount him. You've also got Chuckle, will then inherit the race lead, but he is on very, very old hards, hoping to stretch him to the end, but it's going to be difficult to do so. Aki also on it as Cameron Poulter now has a look at the inside, also on very old hards. And then you've got, here we go, Josh McGill on Josh McGill's gone on mediums. did he start on mediums or was he on hards? I must have missed that, as we see Cameron and Aki going side by side just up ahead. We're going to skip what we were going to have a look at, because Cameron's made a move on Aki, and that's a great battle. There further back, is Josh McGill going to send it on Aki? No, there's no room, but nearly runs into the back of the AlphaTauri driver under braking. He's pushing this AlphaTauri along. He wants to give him the hurry up. And off he goes. But no, I'm just going to have a look at the race director. Josh McGill. Yeah, he's gone medium. Medium. I missed that. So that kind of takes Josh McGill out of the race, because he's going to have to pit again. It must be he's selected that in error. I'm not sure, but that's where he got his tyres up to speed so quickly. So Chuck, then effectively what would have been race leader. So you potentially got 3 people that could win this. You've got Chuck, you've got Chuckle, and you've got Paul. And speaking of the devil, Paul is in the pits. I think Chuckle's in with the best shout here, as long as those tyres last. But he did stay out that extra lap. He pitted under the last lap under safety car, remember. So he's doing pretty well. Josh McGill on the back of Cameron, coming into turn 1. And Josh McGill will have that spot made. And into P2 he goes. And this could have been a pit 1-2 for McLaren, but unfortunately Josh will have to pit again. And Chuck really struggling to fire up those hards and make them work. He's just struggling for pace, I think, at this point. It's a real shame for him. He's got 10 laps to gain quite a lot of time to catch up to his brother, but we will check in. Where is Paul? Paul is coming out in 9th. So how far off the lead is he potentially? I don't want that one, I want leader. He is 13 seconds off the lead, so a little bit more than I anticipated, unfortunately. However, he is on those medium tyres and has a lot of pace, so he'll be looking to make moves up the grid as they go. And now Josh McGill sort of dragging this DRS train along. We've got the 2 Mercedes side by side. Prodigy has made a move on his teammate, Mr. Wigglesaf, for the podium positions, and LGE's sent one at the inside, and I didn't see if there was contact, but it looked like there potentially could have been. Mr. Wigglesaf going off track to avoid anything too much, but he's managed to keep hold of the position. And the Williams once again tucks in behind, but he's got GFO all over the back of him. Josh McGill sets fastest lap, no surprise there. And we have a few people pitting. Bugatti's in the pits, Aki in the pits as well. So, oh, that's interesting. So Aki feels like he can't go to the end of the race on those hards. He is feeling vulnerable. He thinks they won't last. So, is Chuckle going to have to pit by the end of this race? He's got 1 lap older tyres than Aki did. Younger, sorry. Only 1 lap. He's going to look to stretch him. I'm sure he is. So that all of a sudden could then bring these guys back into play once again. I have no idea how this race is going to end, but it is gripping. Do drop your opinion down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you think is going to win. And who's that? That is Prodigy, who's gone round in the first sector. He's kept it out the wall, and I don't think he's got any damage from that. It doesn't look like he's got any damage from that. He hasn't made contact with any walls. Just overheated his rear tyres, and a very bruised ego, no doubt. Yeah, dropped him after working past his teammate even. He's now dropped back a handful of places and got Lee Craig all over the back of him, who was recovering from an earlier spin also. I'm going to go back with the leaders once again. Chuckle rounding out yet another lap, so he's no intention of pitting. Mr. Wigglestaff has crashed and he is out. He is DNF'd, and will that bring out a safety car of some kind? It certainly will. There is Mr. Wigglestaff. He has gone round, and that is a full safety car, and that is going to change things massively. Massively. Royal is in the pits. Paul is looking in a very good position now because this bunches everyone up. There's not going to be much laps remaining. I don't think anyone else is really going to pit. There's probably not a huge amount of point. Royals in, LG's in, Prof's in, Prodigy's in, Lee Craig's in. I mean, they've got nothing to lose really a bit further back, so they're going to roll the dice and go for it. I don't really think there's a huge amount of point. Josh McGill will inevitably have to pit, so this kind of helps him a little bit. Chuckle, what does he do? He surely got a pit. Because he had a good gap, and maybe if he could have stretched those tyres, he might have made it work, but now he's going to be very, very vulnerable. Cameron Poulter, will he have to pit? I imagine. Yeah, his tyres are even older again. Unless Chuckle is super confident of making the end of this race on those tyres. But I just fear he's going to be swallowed up with those on much fresher and much quicker tyres. But we'll have to keep an eye out. See what they do. But it's certainly thrown some last minute drama into it. What is Chuckle going to do? Chuckle is going to come into the pits. I'm not entirely surprised there. Josh McGill inevitably in, Cameron in. Chuck is going to come in as well. And AJ. Not sure about that one. Paul. Yeah, Paul's going to inherit the lead of this race here. And I'll tell you what, I think GFO's going to follow him through potentially as well. GFO might not get into P2, but he's going to be close. He might, yeah, he will do actually. He is going to get into P2. He's going to provide a rear gunner for Paul, and that's worked out nicely for Paul because he does have older tyres, but only by 3 laps. It's not a huge amount in it, you know. And I must admit, I'm surprised by Chuck and AJ. Chuckle has dropped back a lot of positions. What happened there? I don't really know, but Chuckle's lost out positions there to Cameron and his brother. So was he held in the pits? Potentially. Josh McGill inevitably would have been held in the pits behind his teammate. So he's dropped back a long way, but I didn't see what happened to Chuckle. Did he have a front wing change? Did he have a penalty? I didn't see anything. But there we go. So, well, that's changed things up somewhat. And now all of a sudden it's looking like Paul is on for winning this race. He's in potentially the strongest position. I mean, Cameron, don't discount him. He's got rapid pace in that Ferrari if he can keep it together. And he's on brand new medium tyres. Chuck also on brand new mediums. Perhaps not quite the outright pace of the Ferrari, but pretty damn close. But he tends to keep it a little bit more consistent. Dan, double stack cost the McLarens. Yeah, it definitely cost Josh, but it surely wouldn't have hindered Chuckle up ahead. He must have been held. I mean, who's in front of them in the pit lane? It would be Alpine. There was no Alpine in. I was just wondering whether he got blocked in or something like that. Because being the lead McLaren, he shouldn't have been held. Chuckle front wing change held up Josh. Thank you for that, Dan. I did miss that. So Chuckle did have a front wing change. He obviously had a bit of damage there. So he was keeping up very good pace considering. But that is why he's dropped back 2 positions. I appreciate your keen-eyed observation on that one. I unfortunately missed it. A lot going on. But there we have confirmation. The McLarens stumbling and tripping over each other somewhat. Cameron, how am I up here? I've spun 4 times. Well, stop texting while driving. You might not. You might be able to keep spin less if you're not texting. But anyway, no, I'm joking. In fairness, yeah, this alludes to what I was saying in the chat yesterday about safety cars. It very much it hands races out on a platter and it takes them away from other people, and it becomes a bit of potluck because you know, and I'm not saying anybody doesn't deserve this win or whatever, but you know, it does hand it to some people that perhaps don't deserve the win. With somebody who's potentially been dominating a race, it can take the race win away from them. You know, in this case, like Cameron is really helped you jump right up the order despite having that many spins. You know, you've had a torrid race up to this point, but this has really brought you back into play, which, okay, fine, is great. But then arguably Paul was a long way off the lead and maybe wouldn't have got it. I don't know. It might have been close, but I think he was. I think he just shot. He was too far back with the amount of laps we had remaining, and now it's given it to him on a plate. I mean, he's still got to work for it. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it definitely changes things up somewhat, and that's great once in a while. It really is great once in a while because, you know, it throws an exciting curveball into the mix. But unfortunately, it's happening 2 or 3 times every race, every week. It just isn't enjoyable for everyone. We want to be racing, we don't want to be driving slowly behind a red Mercedes, really, do we? But there we have it. Either way, we will be back and running once again. Safety car in this lap. And we're going to keep all eyes on the action. Paul Jones Jr. leading us away. Done the alternate strategy. Started from way down the order on the grid. And is making this one work for him. Especially making use of those safety cars. It's really helped him. And away we go. And he's pulled a great restart. And Cameron and Chuck have got a nice restart. I think so good they've had to back off the throttle to save overtaking before the line. But they're going to go 3 battling into the first corner. The Alfa Romeo still has the ascendancy. He's going to put the squeeze on the Ferrari into the braking zone. It's a little bit dodgy, but I think he's just about got away with it. Chuckle's had a bit of a whoopsie, and Aki has got past him. And now his teammate Josh McGill all over the back of him, and Josh has the soft tyres instead of mediums. And oh my goodness, Cameron's gone into the back of the Alfa Romeo, and that is a proper British Touring Car Championship move. A push to pass, as they call it, and a bit of a bump in the back, and away he goes. And now he's on the back of Paul, and I'm sure Paul's going to be feeling a bit vulnerable. Chuck's going to have a look and swooping around the outside of GFO, but can't quite find the room to make it stick. They're going a bit side by side further back. LGE making some moves on those fresh softs. AJ Baker really struggling on those mediums, but the softs will die off towards the end if he can hold on. Chuckle is going to move. I think Aki's had a little bit of a moment, and he's dropping back down the order. And that's unfortunate for the AlphaTauri, because they're on for a fantastic result if it wasn't. And look at this, getting in the corner. Oh my goodness, what has gone on here? Josh McGill has entered the corner sideways. The 2 McLarens have taken each other out. I did not see exactly what has happened, but that is cataclysmic for the McLaren drivers. They have collided like the Mercedes back in Spain 2016 and taken each other out. And I think, yeah, Chuckle has left, and unfortunately left his AI, and I'm sure that's going to be investigated by the stewards. I'm sure he's not happy about that. I'm sure we're going to see that in the stewards' room after, but back to the leader we go, because Cameron Poulter on those fresh mediums is going to make it work at the inside of Paul, and he has got the lead even without DRS. He's got a very slippery car in that Ferrari, and if he can keep it together, it's going to be a hell of a comeback. Lee Craig, what has happened there? Because he's had a 10-second penalty for corner cutting. It is all kicking off at the end of this race. Aki is going side by side with LGE. LGE's gone up the inside. Royal is now going to try and have a sniff at the inside of the AlphaTauri. It is all kicking off back here. T2 and Danny side by side into the middle sector. Little bit of contact, nothing and towards. T2 is forced wide off the track, and that's allowed Prodigy to swoop round the outside. Another little bit of contact, and the Mercedes is round. Oh my goodness, what is going on? This has turned into a disaster for the last part of this race. Cameron Poulter has the much better pace on those fresh mediums. Chuck also has good pace and has caught up to the back of Paul. Paul hanging on nicely despite having older tyres. I must admit, I thought he'd have a bit stronger pace despite 3-lap older tyres, but apparently those fresh mediums really paying or making the difference here. There's quite a few close gaps further back. Danny is all over the back of Prof for the last points position. It's not actually, for 11th. Bugatti ahead of them is the last points position. And Paul's made a bit of an error coming out of the last corner, I think, because he's dropped back quite a bit. And that's going to allow Chuck a little bit of a run on him. Aki is going to go have a run on LGE. He's in his slipstream, and there's a bit of weaving going on left, right, and centre. What's going on? Prodigy gets himself a time penalty. Aki stays behind for now. Lee retires in the pit lane, and I think there's going to be a lot for the stewards to decide after this. Royal Rumble is now going to get a run on Aki, but all got DRS, so they're all sort of status quo as things stand. Unbelievable finish to this race. I don't believe what I'm seeing. I think we need to see quite a few more camera angles before we comment on what's happened, because I really don't know what's happened, in all honesty with you. But let's take a breather. We're on lap 26 to 29, halfway through. Cameron Poulter is looking, despite starting on pole and leading the first half of the lap, has done nothing but spin since. The safety cars have really brought him back into this. And all of a sudden he's leading the race and on for a potential victory. Paul is holding on for a nice P2. I think he's going to he'll be happy with that given the way this race has gone. But Chuck is looking to try and steal his P2 back. He's going to feel hard done by after this race as well, I'm sure. And but Paul's not going to get DRS. Chuck will get DRS. Both have used an awful lot of batteries. So is Cameron up ahead. Who's the slipperiest in a straight line? I think Paul's just about got enough to defend on this occasion. But there's not long left of this race. Cameron is dropping back a little bit to the clutches of Paul, but LGE and Aki once again having a right old battle for the ages. Oh my goodness, that Williams is round. He's just dropped in on the power application and he's round, and that is a real shame because they was having a fantastic battle with the AlphaTauri, but I'm sure Aki will be happy with that because that leaves him in the clear a little bit. Royal Rumble is behind him on fresh soft, so he's going to be looking to make some moves. Paul just struggling to hold on to the back of Cameron, perhaps running a little less wings because he's struggling around the tight and twisty sections. I'm a little distracted because one of my stickers has come off my pedal plate in front of me, but we're going to ignore that because Chuckle is going trying to have a look up at the inside of Paul, but can't quite make it stick there. This is very close. You've also got AJ on the back of GFO. AJ a much fresher medium tyres. Sector 2 has a yellow flag. Who is that? That is Josh McGill, who's gone round after saying fastest lap of the race. But Paul, is he going to get DRS? This is going to be very close. I don't think he got it. It's unbelievably close on that detection point, but I don't think he has DRS. He doesn't, and that's going to allow Chuck to run on him. That is very, very crucial. Unbelievable, and the Red Bull shoots past into second position with 2 laps remaining, and that could give him a slingshot to catch the DRS of Cameron up ahead, who has no battery left whatsoever. And now this has changed it once again. Unreal this race. It really is. Royal still on the back of Aki, Danny and Tiedemann going side by side. Danny with a nice move up the inside and making use of those softer compounder tyres. And into 8th he goes. I can't keep up. I can't read the positions. There's too much going on. Josh in the pits. He's given up the ghost. He's had enough. But this is unbelievable drama. Got a few comments in the chat. Chuckle not happy whatsoever with the driving standards at all. Also got Lee apologising, saying he missed his braking point going into turn 1. So not sure whether that was what caused all the drama originally. We'll have to see. But now Chuck is on the back of Cameron, and I'll tell you what, that could mean Chuckle's AI could be being caught here, and that might affect things. But let's go back with Chuck because he's got DRS on the Ferrari, but the Ferrari looks rapid in the straight line. It's a yellow flag in turn 1. As they go, Josh McGill has left. That is changing the hose once again. Hopefully Lobby doesn't glitch out in the last couple of laps. Chuck really, really close to the back of Cameron here. Paul really struggling to keep up with these two boys, but I'm sure he's going to take a P3 out of this and be happy with that, get the way this race has gone. But anything could have happened. Chuck all over the back of the Ferrari. This is the final lap of the Grand Prix, and all the drama, we've missed what lap we're actually on. We have no idea what's going on. Can Chuck find a way past? He's got this one DRS zone to go. Prodigy retires from the race. Cameron is going to go really defensive to the inside, but I don't think Chuck's going to be close enough to make a move here. Neither has any battery to use. There's a yellow flag further back. I think that's Bugatti. or LG, it's Bugatti, I think. But we're going to stick with the leaders because Cameron is only half a second ahead of Chuck, and I can't believe what I'm witnessing this race. It is unbelievable. Cameron will round the final corner, and despite spinning 4 times, the safety car's brought him back into it. Cameron Poulter takes the victory at Bahrain. Chuck Brothers comes home P2. Paul Jones finishes a brilliant P3 from way down on the grid. AJ, I'm sure, will be happy with 4th. GFO, a fantastic result for him in 5th. Aki, given circumstances, will be delighted with 6th. Royal in 7th. Danny in 8th. Prof in 9th. And I have no idea who's 10th, and I can't keep up with this. Unbelievable. Absolutely unreal race. I really don't know what to say at the end of that. Every week, week in, week out, this tier provides so much drama, so much entertainment, and oh, it's just unbelievable watching it. Unbelievable. Such fantastic drama. I'm sure there's going to be a lot for the stewards to digest after that. And away we go. There Cameron goes, celebrating the podium. And it's also now come to light as well that Cameron had a qualifying ban from the last race, but did not serve it. He got pole position, remember. And yeah, so that's going to give him a race ban for next week. Yeah, just I don't really know what to say. Let's just run through the results, shall we? Cameron Poulter, P1, Chuck P2, Paul P3, AJ P4, GFO P5, and I mean, driver of the day, who are you going to give it to? It's got to be GFO, absolutely. I mean, Paul Jones comes a pretty close second, but GFO, driver of the day, P20 to P5. What a fantastic drive from him. Aki P6, Royal Rumble P7, Danny P8, Prof P9, Teichmann rounds out your top 10. I'm going to go have a lie down and probably check my heartbeat and my resting pulse on that one, because my stress levels are through the roof, and I'm sure all the drivers are too. Thank you ever so much, everyone, once again tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to do it all again next week, but I might need some recovery time first. But until then, good night.